Truck drivers, here is a recap of what Congress is working on, or the plan that they've laid out over the next couple of years. What are their goals? What are they trying to achieve? So let's get into it. Some of them you'll agree with, and some of them you will not agree with and will be totally against. But you need to be made aware of what in the world is Congress working on. So let's keep in mind on the forefront that the FMCSA is committed to reducing commercial motor vehicle fatalities. So this is their number one goal, is to make the roads a safer place. Now, obviously, number one, the first thing that comes to our mind is truck parking. Man, oh man, have I been hearing this nonstop, especially over the last 5 years, but it's only getting worse and worse, that the truck parking for truck drivers, the truck stops are just full and there's absolutely no space, and people are kind of lining up along the highway to park their trucks. Now this has got to stop, and somebody's got to put an end to this, and we really need a budget in place. Well, they've introduced legislation earlier this month that would set aside $755 million grants over the next 4 years to expand much needed truck parking across the country. The second thing that you might not be happy with is they're trying to introduce the speed limiters in the US. So they are trying to introduce a bill that will have small carriers and all trucks governed at 70 miles per hour. Well, I know you guys are taking this hard, but here in Ontario, all of our trucks are governed at 65 miles per hour. And even when we do enter into the US, our trucks are still locked. So you have the independent owner operators and the small trucking companies that are totally against this bill. And then you have the larger carriers and some safety groups that are totally for this bill. So it's going to be interesting on how this is going to play out. Will they come up with a rule that all trucks need to be governed or not? Rule number 3, or what they're trying to push, is a broker oversight. How many times have I heard people complaining about brokers, freight brokers, double brokering, triple brokering people's freight? So just to give you a little background, what happens is that a freight broker can get his work off of a load board and then sell it to another carrier. That other carrier is going to sell it to another carrier. So let's say there's a load from Atlanta, Georgia to Chicago, Illinois, and the manufacturing company is paying a broker $3,000 for this run. Now that broker will hire another carrier and he's going to pay him $2,500 for that run, so leaving $500 to himself as a profit and selling it to the carrier at $2,500. Well, that carrier might be able to find another carrier that's willing to do it for $2,000. So that carrier is pocketing also $500, giving it to another carrier, which is already double brokering it, for $2,000. And sometimes you have this cycle being played out 3 or 4 times before the actual trucking company does the work. So it's double brokered, triple brokered, quadruple brokered. Sometimes it goes through 4 or 5 different hands, and they're trying to do an oversight. They're trying to create rules around what is allowed, what is not allowed, creating awareness and stopping all this fraud and double brokering and triple brokering. So technically, the way we have it here in Canada is double brokering for us is absolutely not allowed. You can only take it from the manufacturing plant and then you can sell it one time. It does happen that people sell it a second time and a third time, but I think it's a lot less common over here than it is in the US. Or what they're trying to do is create awareness that you guys should only be taking loads from trusted brokers to help ensure that they're legitimate and avoid the double and triple brokering. All right, so overtime pay. A truck driver in the US or in Canada is allowed to work 70 hours in 7 days. Now, if I was to work at Tim Hortons or Starbucks in the US, I believe the rules are that anything after 44 hours, I'm supposed to get paid time and a half, which is my overtime pay. Well, this doesn't exist in trucking companies. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to come up with the Truckers Act that will enforce trucking companies to pay overtime pay to truck drivers. So we don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but that's something that they're trying to introduce in the Congress. All right, number 5, wireless ID. So from what I'm understanding, the FMCSA plans to follow up on the proposed rulemaking to outfit all trucks with a unique ID. So what is this unique ID? So basically they want all the information about the truck, all the information about the driver, that it will wirelessly connect to the scales. So when you are at a scale or when a police officer pulls you over, they can basically wirelessly see who you are as a driver, your license, any previous convictions or any previous speeding tickets that you have, but it also will allow them to see your truck. From what I understand, they want to get into maintenance records. From what I understand, they want to be able to see your hours of service, your CDL compliance, and your medical certification. So a huge pushback against this rule. Nobody's for it. Do you really want somebody else having access to this kind of information about yourself, about the trucking company, about the driver? There's going to be a huge pushback, and I don't foresee this coming out anytime soon. All right, so there really were 9 things on the list. I'm going to just talk about one more. So the bill that was passed in the congressional term, the Bathroom Access Act. Basically, before, what was happening is a truck driver would come to a shipper or a receiver, deliver a load or pick up a load, and then when he would ask to use the washroom, and then the shipper or the receiver would tell him, I'm sorry, our washrooms are not available for the public or are not available for truck drivers. Well, that can no longer happen. So the shipper, the receiver, they have to have access for truck drivers, and that's why there's the Bathroom Access Act. It was passed just a few months ago, and this is a huge relief. I mean, I don't know why it took so long for them to pass this, but shippers and receivers have for the longest time mistreated truck drivers out there, and that's why this act came into play, and now there's no more. So if anybody is telling you that you cannot use, please share a comment down below and let us know which shipper out there or which receiver out there is denying you access to their washroom. So make sure you're subscribed to this channel as I get updates on these legislative policies that are going to go into effect over the next couple of years. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel so when they do, I'll create a video and you'll get informed. So I'm Ronen, R-O-N-E-N, and I'll catch you in my next video.